You understand people, not casually, not in the surface level way most people mean when they say they are good with people. You understand them at a depth they do not understand themselves. You can sit across from someone for 20 minutes and know things about them they have never said out loud. The fear underneath the confidence, the grief underneath the anger, the specific loneliness that is driving the behavior everyone else just calls difficult. You see it without trying, without wanting to sometimes. It just arrives, fully formed, like a frequency you were born tuned to that you never asked for and cannot turn off. And here is the paradox that nobody talks about. The more clearly you understand other people, the harder it becomes for other people to understand you. Not because you are complicated in a way that cannot be understood, but because understanding at your depth requires a capacity that most people have not developed. And so you sit in conversations where you can see 3 levels underneath what is being said, while the person across from you is still working with the surface. In relationships where you have understood the other person so completely that you can predict what they need before they ask, while they have never once accurately predicted what you need, because they have never looked that deep. In rooms full of people, where you understand every single person present and not one of them understands you. Fyodor Dostoevsky, who understood human nature more completely than almost any writer who ever lived, wrote something that should land in your chest like a closed fist. He said, "Pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and a deep heart. Pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and a deep heart. Not sometimes, not occasionally, always. And you have been treating your pain like something that needs to be fixed, when really, it is the price of admission for the way you were built." Let me tell you what this costs you specifically, not in theory, in your actual daily life. It costs you reciprocity. Every relationship you have has an imbalance built into its foundation. You give understanding. You receive something less than understanding in return. Not because the people around you are incapable of caring, but because caring and understanding are not the same thing. Someone can love you completely and still not understand you at the depth you understand them. And you, who feel that gap every single day, have learned to live inside it, to accept the lesser return, to tell yourself that what you receive is enough, even when it is not. Even when you come home from a conversation where you gave someone a level of insight into themselves that they will think about for weeks and received in return something polite, something surface, something that landed on the performance of you rather than the actual you. It costs you your patience, not with other people, with yourself, because you can see with uncomfortable clarity exactly what you need to do. In your work, in your relationships, in the specific areas of your life that are not working. You can diagnose the problem with surgical precision, and then you cannot make yourself do the thing, because understanding something and having the emotional resources to act on it are 2 completely different capacities. And you have been blessed with an abundance of the first and depleted of the second by years of spending your emotional resources on understanding everyone else. Friedrich Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." And I want to apply that specifically to you. The person who understands everyone else's why often has the least clarity about their own, because you have been so focused on comprehending the world around you that the question of what you actually want from it has gone largely unexplored. It costs you your peace because a mind that processes at your depth does not stop processing. It runs constantly on everyone, on everything. The conversation from 3 days ago that you are still turning over. The interaction that seemed fine on the surface, but registered something off at a frequency nobody else picked up. The relationship dynamic you have analyzed from 17 different angles at 2 in the morning, while the person you are analyzing it with is sleeping perfectly, unbothered, because they did not notice what you noticed, because they cannot. And here is what that costs you in the most fundamental way. Rest. The specific cognitive and emotional rest that comes from being in the presence of someone who understands you at the same depth you understand them. For most people, that experience is available, at least occasionally, in at least one relationship. For you, it is so rare that when it does happen, it feels like oxygen after years of breathing something thinner. Here is what nobody has correctly identified about why you stay in this position. It is not that you cannot find people who understand you. It is that you have stopped looking, not consciously, not as a decision you made on a specific day, but as the accumulated result of enough experiences where you reached towards someone with something real and felt the specific gap of it not landing, the polite response where genuine recognition should have been, the advice when what you needed was understanding, the pivot to their own experience when you had barely started describing yours, and eventually, not because you are pessimistic, but because you are intelligent, you updated your expectation. You stopped reaching with the real thing. You started offering the edited version, the surface version, the version that would not create the gap, because it was not asking for the depth to be met. Albert Camus said, "Nobody realizes that some people expend tremendous energy merely to be normal." And I want to say something specific about that for you. You expend tremendous energy merely to be understood as something less than you are, because being understood as something less costs you less than reaching for the real thing and feeling the specific emptiness of it not arriving. And that strategy, while rational, is slowly eliminating the possibility of the connection you actually need, because you cannot receive something you have stopped making space for. So what do you actually do? Not find your people. That advice sounds simple and is practically useless. Your people are not wearing signs. They are not gathered in one place. They are scattered across the world, living inside the same paradox you are, understanding everyone and understood by almost no one. Not lower your expectations. You have tried that. It does not create peace. It creates a different and more insidious loneliness. The loneliness of someone who has decided they do not deserve what they actually need. Not talk more. The problem is not volume. The problem is depth. And you can talk all day at the depth most people can access and still feel completely unseen. One thing, you stop using your understanding of other people as a substitute for demanding to be understood yourself. Because here is what has been happening. The understanding you give has become the currency you use to buy belonging. You understand people so completely, so generously, so without asking anything in return, that they feel good around you. They feel seen around you. They come back to you, and you mistake their return for connection, when really they're returning to a service, not to a person, and you, the person, are still waiting, still sitting in the center of the warmth you created, still the loneliest person in the room. Carl Jung said, "Loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you, or from holding certain views which others find inadmissible. That is your loneliness, not the absence of people, the presence of things inside you that you have stopped trying to communicate, because the space for them has never been adequately made. Make the space, not everywhere, not with everyone, with one person who has given you enough evidence that they might actually be able to receive what you have been carrying alone. And if they cannot, that is information, not confirmation that you are too much, that you are, as you have always been, simply looking for the right room. And the right room exists, even for the people who understand everyone and spend their lives wondering who will ever understand them. If this is the kind of honest conversation you have been looking for, I make one of these every week. You know where to find me.